Welcome to The Kingstonian, a podcast that profiles individuals who are passionate about what they do for a living, about what organization they belong to, or simply passionate about the community they are a part of. Hello there and welcome. My name is Dave Cunningham. The Kingston Family Y has gone through a major amalgamation over the last year, enabling it to grow and be in a position to offer more programs and services to a wider area. Let's talk about that with the CEO of the YMCA of Eastern Ontario, Rob Adams. Rob, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
You are the CEO of the Y of Eastern Ontario.
That's right.
And that may seem like a different name to a lot of people. It's the result of an amalgamation. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But what I thought I would start off with is to get you to talk a little bit about the difference between the Y and some of the other gyms that people can go to in town.
Well, I guess you hit it off right off the bat is that we're not just a gym. I know a lot of people look at the Y as a place to go work out and to go swimming, but the YMCA is much more than that. We are the largest childcare provider in Canada, one of the largest childcare providers in the region. We offer camping services, employment services. We're the largest employer of youth. And the biggest difference for us is that we're a charity and a not-for-profit, where a lot of the gyms in town are for-profit. And the other piece is that we don't turn anybody away, and we have a financial assistance program available for those who can't afford it, which means we offer programs and services for all ages, all abilities, regardless of circumstance. So we're really that one-stop shop that allows someone to come access the facility, whether you're a baby or a senior.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You are a graduate of Queen's.
Well, I took some financial certification courses through the Smith School of Business, yeah. But I took my, I went to school at Mohawk College in Hamilton, Ontario, and then I did some coursework at Brock, and then I did some financial management courses through the executive program, the Finance for Financial Managers through the Smith School of Business.
Now, I'm sort of curious. I know that when people graduate from university, from time to time they have a particular goal they have in terms of a career. Now, was this sort of career something you had thought about when you graduated from Mohawk College?
No. I grew up in Woodstock, Ontario, Western Ontario, and I was just an active kid and probably didn't come from a household that was really a positive environment. And so my mom put me in swimming lessons and I participated in camps, and I just really found the camp counselors and lifeguards and instructors just fun to be around. I thought maybe that's what I'd want to do or for a summer job. And it just kind of blew up into the profession I wanted to enter. I initially wanted just to be in gym shorts and a t-shirt in a gymnasium working with kids. I never anticipated I'd end up, a CEO.
Running the shop.
Yeah, running the shop. But I mean, the YMCA is so diverse that you can change hats along the way and you feel like you're starting a new career. So I couldn't be happier that I've been given this opportunity by the board, especially now as we're entering a new phase of the Y in Eastern Ontario.
You have worked for the Y in the National Capital Region and in Brockville, and I think that's where you're based, right, is Brockville?
Yeah, so I started my Y career in Brockville, and then from there I ended up going to the YMCA, YWCA of the National Capital Region. Spent 10 years there and managed various areas from health, fitness, and aquatics to camping to childcare. Near the end of my tenure in Ottawa and getting this opportunity in Kingston and Brockville area, I was the vice president of health, fitness, aquatics, and children's services. And so I split my time up pretty much in half as much as I can, just because it gives some consistency to the staff, the members, the donors. So Mondays to Tuesdays, I work in Kingston. Thursday and Friday, I'm in Brockville, and I alternate my Wednesdays. But, my job isn't necessarily to be in the building 5 days a week. So I go where the community needs me, and I go where the stakeholders are.
Now, we alluded to that at the top of the show about the amalgamation between the Y of Brockville and area and the Kingston Y. So this happened about a year ago. Right?
Yeah, so April 1st, ironically, it wasn't an April Fool's joke, but April 1st, we merged into the YMCA of Eastern Ontario. So I started in October of 2018, and there were two CEOs, colleagues of mine, Diane and Deacon Thomas in Brockville, and Mary Kluseman, who's the CEO in Kingston for about 10 or 11 years, both friends of mine. They were both deciding to move on in their retirement life, and it was probably a good time initially for the board to think about a shared CEO model, but then they went further into discussing how could we be one organization. So through October till April, I was working with two boards to merge into one board, and two separate ran organizations, both operationally and culturally, into driving it into one. So April 1st, we merged into one, and things are going pretty well.
Aside from having to travel back and forth to maintain a presence in both locations, what are the advantages, or what were the advantages in deciding to amalgamate?
Well, I think it's a movement across the country that's happening.
Okay.
It wasn't coming from a cost savings perspective, or the Ys are in trouble, or we need to do this to save money. We did it because, and Ys are doing it across the country because they're starting to recognize the fact that more is better, and we can extend our reach. Because if we double our component in terms of people delivering our programs, that allows us to extend to the areas that are underserved. There are obviously efficiencies that happen. We don't need two software systems. We can operate on one software system. We don't need two human resources information systems. We can have one system. Some of the early wins of that is that we've been expanding our programs to Gananoque, and we've expanded our programs in North Grenville. The only way we could do that if we were bigger. From a manpower standpoint.
The Y has a big history in Canada. Yeah. It's been around a long time. Yeah. Give us just a bit of an overview as to how big the Y is in Canada.
Well, there's 43 different associations in Canada. Like the first YMCA in North America was actually in Canada, in Quebec. It was McGill University was the first YMCA in Quebec City. And so it's been around for many, many years. I mean, James Naismith, everybody knows that he's Canadian, and he invented the game of basketball, but he was actually working for the Y in Springfield, Massachusetts. So there's been a long history of the YMCA in Canada, and stretching from west to east, north, south, we're all across the country.
This particular program interviews people who are passionate about what they do. So what is your passion about the Y? How does it manifest itself?
Well, I mean, it's the stories. I think it's the stories that connects us to the community. I think that, early on in my childhood, I'm a Y kid. And I was one of those sponsored individuals. My family didn't have the money to give me access to certain things, and my mom recognized the fact that I needed some different role models, and so it planted a seed for me, and it evolved through there. The one thing that I'm passionate about the Y is that it's always consistent. It's always consistent in its message, and it never changes its mandate. We're a value-based organization. We're in communities that need us, and I think, again, the fact that nobody is turned away really sets us apart from everybody else. And especially nowadays, even with, fundraising dollars and businesses leaving, like, communities are struggling, but, that makes the need for a program and organizations like the YMCA that much more prevalent in today's society. So it's just the impact and the touches. Just in Kingston alone, we'll have over 200,000 visits just in that facility, and that doesn't include like day pass users, camping, childcare, and stuff like that. So when you think about this region, just specifically in Kingston, that's a big impact on this community. So it would be hard for this community to even think about what it would be like not to have a YMCA.
Mm-hmm. You have locations at St. Lawrence College.
Yeah, we have a great partnership agreement with the St. Lawrence College. So we help manage the athletic center there. We run classes, programs. We manage the wellness floor as well. It's open access in terms of if you're a Y member, you can access it, and college students get a membership as well, and they can access the Wright Crescent building as well. But now that we've merged, I mean, their membership is good in Brockville too. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
You did have a location on Progress Avenue, but That's you right. don't anymore, right?
Yeah. So coming in early, we closed the Wright Crescent, the Progress Avenue location. We announced that closure in June of this year, and we ceased operations in August. And it wasn't for a fact that we didn't necessarily want to be there. It was just that at the time, competition increased in the area. The membership necessarily couldn't support itself, and we operated that facility for 3 years in a deficit. And so, our donors, our community, our staff, our members, we need to be responsible financial stewards. And so, although it was a difficult decision to make, we did it for the right reasons. And I'm happy to report that we've been able to retain over 50% of those members that were at Progress Avenue mm-hmm. that have transitioned to Wright Crescent. So now our facility at Wright Crescent really feels the way a healthy, vibrant YMCA should feel.
How much time does the CEO spend on fundraising?
Well, I have a great team. A lot of my fundraising ability and my fundraising work is more around relationship building and bringing awareness to the Y. We have a team of 3 individuals that cover the region when it comes to driving fundraising. We raise across the region probably about $600,000 to $700,000 a year just to provide access. Now, that sometimes some of that goes into capital, some of that is grants, mm-hmm. Actual fundraising dollars, but we provide probably over $1 million worth of subsidies at the same time. So fundraising for us is key.
Now, when I was looking at the website, I noticed that there are all kinds of programs that the Y offers, and I've just sort of zeroed in on a couple, if you wouldn't mind talking a bit about them. One of them was labeled as an interest that you had about combating child inactivity. Can you describe what that is all about?
Yeah, well, I mean, early on in my tenure, especially when I was overseeing programs in health, fitness, and aquatics, nowadays it's about creating access and the philosophies of what kids can do and how old they need to be in order for them to do it has really shifted. And so part of that inactivity is to create access to areas that otherwise used to be closed to them. And so, for an example, we started our access policy has changed. So if you're 10 and over, you're allowed to come into the building on your own and sign yourself in and sign out. You're allowed to go on to the conditioning floor and use the equipment. We have programs and services specific to Eat Well, Live Well, where they learn good eating habits and learn how to work out and use the equipment. I guess philosophy-wise, I have an 11-year-old son, Declan, and he helps me carry in the groceries. And if a grocery bag weighs 10 or 15 pounds, then why can't he lift a weight that's 10 or 15 pounds? They weigh the same, they just look different. Mm-hmm. And so the philosophy of kids need to be a certain age to be able to do certain things has really shifted. And as a YMCA, we had to kind of evolve to kind of do that. A lot of things too in terms of space, as we opened up some functional fitness areas in our areas now, where it's a turfed area and it's more, lack of a better term, it's a grown up looking jungle gym, but it's accessible for everybody. So we want families to come together and, not necessarily have to sign up for the traditional basketball courses or the arts programs, which we offer, which are good quality and our staff and volunteers do great jobs. But sometimes families just want to come in and be active. And so if there's something going on in the gymnasium that a family can't participate in, well, the one thing that's always open is the strength and conditioning area. And so it was about kind of creating an environment where everyone feels welcome and safe and, gets active.
What kind of stories do you have, or what kind of results have you seen with respect to these 10-year-olds that come in on their own and work out at the gym? Do you have anything that jumps to mind?
Yeah, there's a couple, and there's a couple programs that stick out in mind. One is the Eat Well, Live Well, and the 10-year-olds that are coming in is that it really starts to create a sense of habit for them. And oftentimes, not to date myself or yourself, but, when I was 8 years old in 1978, it was nothing to be able to walk down the street somewhere and go somewhere on my own and feel independent. Well, the attitudes have changed so much that you don't see that anymore. So now that families know that their 10-year-old and up can, in fact, come to the building on their own, it creates a sense of independence. And when you're independent, you start making your own choices. And if you start laying seeds of healthy choices, healthy habits, and they're doing it themselves, then it just continues. So I guess I'd like to say that the success stories is that we probably have anywhere between 100 to 300 kids of that age group that just accesses our building on our own to areas that they never used to be able to access, or felt they didn't feel welcome enough to access. The other piece is that in Brockville, because I know you have some of your listeners in Brockville, is that we started a teen night about 8 weeks ago. And, locally in that area, they've been combating some, youth inactivity, teen inactivity. There's been a recent incident that happened a couple of years ago where there's a court case that's happening in that region. And so, we did a series of conversations with teens and stakeholders about what is needed in the area. And they really just came back to three things. We wanted a safe place to go. We wanted somewhere to stay warm and safe. We wanted something to eat. We wanted free Wi-Fi, because a lot of teens and youth have phones that don't have data plans. So we looked at our operations and we decided, I think there's something we can do. And so what we ended up doing was just deciding to close the building early to the general public at 7:00 in the evening on Fridays, and we reopen at 7:30. But the difference is that we stay open from 7:30 till midnight now.
Okay.
And teens show up, we feed them, they have a safe space to come. We offer some mental health support if it's required. I don't want to say like we've thrown the rule book out, but sometimes individuals will come under the influence at that age, or they're making some bad choices before they show up. We don't automatically kick them out. We've created safe spaces for people to come, feel safe, because we would rather them feel safe in our building than possibly maybe making a bad choice outside of our building. And the Brockville Police has been a great partner with that as well.
So you've adapted the rule book to current circumstance.
That's right. That's right. And right now what we're currently doing too locally in Kingston is that we're doing the same thing. We're trying to evaluate what are the systemic issues in this area, and is there a need for a similar program in Kingston that we would be able to offer up our site for youth and teens to just come in and hang out, just for them. The one thing that I've found myself doing this past year has been doing a bit of education that the programs that we provide don't necessarily have to happen within our four walls. They can happen anywhere. And the other thing is that we don't have to do it ourselves, and we don't have to be the experts in everything. What we need are willing partners. And so if there's community agencies out there that are thinking, we need this, but we need a space. Well, maybe we have the space. Or maybe it's, we have the space, but we don't have the expertise. Well, maybe the why can be that. And it's basically, getting back to the fact that we're more than a gym, and we're more than just a pool. We can be a change agent to address community issues. And I've found that we've been having to do a little bit of education that we're open to that. And we've always been that, but maybe we haven't been promoting that enough, or ourselves doing it enough.
Like almost every other organization, it all comes down to communication. You're communicating with partners that are out there that you haven't communicated with before, or communicated with the public themselves. Right. Another program that's been around a while, as far as I can recall, and that's Vicky Keith and the Penguins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Describe how that works.
Well, first off, I'll give a shout out to Vicky Keith, who was just recently inducted to the Canadian Sports Hall of Fame. That happened over this past fall. Yeah, Vicky is a great ambassador for youth and a great ambassador for the Y. So the Y Pregnance program was developed by Vicky to get kids who may come with some sort of physical limitation and get them active on the same playing field as other swim teams. It's a competitive club. They practice, they go to meets. But the added thing was that it's them and their able-bodied siblings. So oftentimes Vicky was finding out that, from a sibling standpoint, they'd be off in two different directions in terms of sports and activities they were doing. So how could a program be created that would put everybody in the same playing field and they could do something together? So that program's been happening over a few years now. We partnered with Easter Seals this past summer to do a Swim for Kids at Ontario Park this past summer, and it's been going really well. But the kids also did a 24-hour swim relay just not too long ago as well.
So it's been a successful program.
Oh, yeah. It's great. Fantastic program.
How many kids go to camp anymore?
A lot of kids go to camp because, again, I spoke earlier that we're one of, if not the largest childcare providers in the region, right? Mm-hmm. And are the largest childcare provider in Canada. So families still need places for kids to go Monday to Friday when school's out. So we offer a wide range of camping experiences through specialty camps or what we call the adventure camp program. We have it from ages 4 and up, leadership programs as well. But again, the thing that sets us apart is that if there's an inability to pay, we provide those means. So financial circumstances should never be a barrier. And the other thing too is that we've added inclusion campers. So if there are those campers who do have some intellectual deficits or physical limitations who require one-on-one support, we have those supports available to them. Now sometimes there is an added cost to that, but again, that added cost could also be sponsored as well.
Now, what does Rob Adams do when he's not working besides going to concerts with his son?
Yeah, well, I'm a interesting question. This past first year has gone by pretty quick for me, to be honest. It's been a great year. But typically, I'm a pretty homebody, to be honest. I have a beautiful wife and an 11-year-old son and a 23-year-old son that lives out west. I'm an avid runner. I ran the Boston Marathon a couple of times and New York once. And, a lot of it is reading. I love reading about people. So I do a lot of biography reading and on leadership, not your CEO book leadership, but just, even past leaders and even maybe leaders I wouldn't think about reading about. Well, I'm reading the biography of the actor who plays C-3PO. I'm also reading speeches by Obama. I'm reading a really good book on Indigenous reconciliation right now, just for my own education as well, because I think there's an opportunity for RY to maybe do more with that. I just don't know where to begin, so I'm just learning more about it.
Have you read the biography that Keith Richards wrote?
I have, yeah. And I've read the Bruce Springsteen biography as well.
I think the Keith Richards book was a good read. Yeah. At least I enjoyed the read anyway.
It was.
Now, in terms of contributing back to the community, do you have time to do any of that?
I used to sit on the Leeds and Grenville Family Children's Services Board. I was vice chair there. I had to step back a bit once I got this gig, just because it's a new gig, and you never know what you get when you buy the onion. I coached Little League and basketball and those sorts of things. So, I try to do as much as I can, but admittedly, some of that has taken a back seat to the merger and to getting immersed in the communities around that I'm serving.
And going back and forth. Kingston to Brockville.
But, I was living in Brockville when I was working in Ottawa, and I commuted to Ottawa for the last 10 years before joining the YMCA here. And, my commute, we offer programs in Gananoque, so, I'm going there anyway.
So how many kilometers do you put on your car in a year?
Oh, don't ask me that. I don't ask me that. Yeah, I don't know. I just bought a new car, so I'm kind of nervous to start looking at it already. Yeah.
We have run out of time on the program.
Okay.
And I thank you very much for coming in and talking to us about the Y and all the programs it offers, and I wish you every success as you move forward.
No, I appreciate it, Dave, and this is great. I really love the tour of the place. It's like a museum in here. It's so awesome, and I took a photo of the record wall and the vault and stuff that I'll send off to my 23-year-old. He'll find it pretty neat, but happy to come back anytime, and thanks for allowing me to talk about the Y, because again, this community needs an organization like the YMCA, and we're always looking to partner and look for new opportunities.
All right. Take care.
Awesome. Thanks.
Theme music for the program is Stasis Oasis, a tune written and performed by Kingston musician Tim Aylesworth. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions about any of our episodes, please send a note to the Kingstonian Podcast Facebook page. This is Dave Cunningham from Kingston, Ontario. Thank you for listening. Until next time.